call the regular meeting of the Montgomery County Legislature to order. It is June 25th, 2019. It's Tuesday, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Chairman Headwell.
Present.
Legislator Wilson.
Present.
Legislator Duchessi.
Present.
Legislator Pep.
Present.
Legislator Isabel.
Present.
Legislator Patel.
Here.
Legislator Kelly.
Present.
Legislator Sweet.
Present.
Legislator Diamond.
Present. We'll stand for the pledge. Madam Clerk, moment of silence.
Tonight's moment of silence will be for David Bauk, who worked for Montgomery County from 1966 to 2000, and he served as the Commissioner of DPW from 1989 to 2000, and also for Christine Mengi, who was the first female county clerk of Montgomery County, and she served for Montgomery County from 1975 to 1990.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to have a motion to move the public comment this evening to before new business. If you could.
I'll make a motion.
Motion. Legislator Diamond.
I'll second.
Second by who? Legislator Pep. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So then we'll start with our proclamations, and the first one we have tonight would be Dairy Month, and we have Martin Kelly.
Whereas dairy farmers have contributed to the development and well-being of Montgomery County since its earliest formation, and whereas the dairy industry is a major industry in Montgomery County and makes a significant contribution to the local economy, and whereas observed for the first time in 1937 as National Milk Month, the aim of the National Dairy Month originally was, and still is, to promote milk consumption and dairy production. Whereas the 82nd celebration of June is Dairy Month, highlighting the dairy industry, will occur in June of 2019. And whereas milk and dairy foods provide health benefits and valuable nutrients, and this annual tradition of Dairy Month helps celebrate the nearly 5,000 dairy farms in New York State and all the fresh, nutritious foods that they produce. And whereas New York produces 14 billion pounds of milk from more than 600,000 dairy cows, making it the third largest state in terms of milk production. Now therefore, be it resolved, County Executive Matthew L. Ossenfort, Legislative Chairman Robert Hedwell Jr., and Legislator Martin P. Kelly, on behalf of the Montgomery County Legislature, hereby proclaim June 2019 in designation to celebrate June is Dairy Month, and call upon the citizens of Montgomery County to observe the month and appreciate in appropriate programs and activities. Thank you. And it looks like Sarah has some things to say.
Yes, I do. Start.
Hi, I'm Daniel Martineau, and I am a dairy ambassador.
I'm Sarah Kean. I'm a dairy ambassador, and this is Addie. She is a dairy maid. We are part of the Montgomery Dairy County Court, and we just want to thank you for making June Dairy Month in Montgomery County, and for showing that it's an important part in the dairy industry.
presentation from Scott from MVP for Men's Health Month.
Chairman,
Yes.
before we get started, this is Scott Buniak of MVP. The Wellness Committee, which is recently started in the county, has been working to raise awareness each month on a number of different topics in an effort to promote well-being amongst our employees. So this month, in June, we had Men's Health Month. So that's why we invited Scott here tonight to try to give you all some statistics and information regarding the month to try to raise awareness and sort of, I guess it stems from the Wellness Committee, so that's my little.
Thank you, Marty.
Yep.
Scott?
Yes, thank you very much. Please come through.
Yeah, sure.
How's everyone doing? So as mentioned, my name is Scott Buniak. I'm from MVP Healthcare. I'm a well-being coordinator. So this month is Men's Preventative Health Month. So I'm happy to be here and be able to present on this issue and hopefully be able to give you a few statistics. So we're going to start here right away. These statistics are actually pretty staggering, and I'm going to let you look at them yourself. But one of the biggest points that popped out to me was that men actually lead in 9 of the top 10 causes of death. So this is a large number. That's a big percentage, and actually something that we should recognize. And hopefully, I can give you some resources so that you can do so. You can forward both if you'd like to. So Men's Health Month, basically it's to heighten awareness of preventative health problems and to encourage detection and treatment. So every single person here can help in that if you recognize what they are, and you can help others to help others go get checked out and have the tools to be treated. Men's Health Week happened just a week ago, right before Father's Day, 2 weeks ago. And then Wear Blue Friday was on the Friday before Father's Day. So it's a great time to do that because it is obviously before Father's Day, and we're recognizing the men in our lives that day. So 4 of the biggest preventative or diseases that afflict men are heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and depression. On the right are a few of the actual screenings they do to detect these things. So we talk about blood pressure. Obviously, you go to the doctor, you see this happen every time. It's the first thing you do. You have cholesterol screenings, body mass index, and circumference. And then some of the things that actually are between diabetes and heart disease that you would talk with your physician about are discussing smoking, physical activity, and then diet. If we go down a little bit further, obviously diabetes, you're screening for blood glucose level. Cancer, some of the biggest cancers that we see are skin, prostate, colon, lung, and testicular cancer. So these are things that you want to be screened for. If you want some more information, you can absolutely reach out to me about those things. But generally, meeting with a physician, they'll be able to let you know when you should. It depends on your risk level. Depression is also a big one. If you notice on the first bullet point, there's actually 4 times greater chance that a man is to die from suicide over a woman. So that's a high number, and so we actually want to make sure that you get out there to be able to talk with someone if you need to. So we can kind of fast forward here. This is a really important slide. If you want to go back one, sorry. If we look, it's heart attack, stroke, depression, and diabetes, things that we want to look out for. I'll keep it real brief. So the heart attack, make sure if you feel pain, chest, in your arm, shortness of breath, please go see someone about this immediately or call 911. Stroke, we talk about the acronym FAST. So it actually is to act fast. You want to make sure that you're looking for someone's face. If the face is drooping, your arms, if you feel tingling down your arm, your speech, if it's impaired, or time. And you want to make sure you take the time right away. So between those two, those are the 2 most common that you're going to see. Let's make sure we act upon them quickly, and hopefully we know about these issues so we can take charge. We can fast forward now. Again. Thank you. So things that we can do: attend health fairs, screenings, and even educational seminars. So I know this is a little bit long, but this is really what we're trying to do, is raise awareness for these kind of issues. And I will point out that, believe it or not, one of the greatest issues, testicular cancer, 95% survival rate if it's detected early. And this goes for many of these diseases. So it's, it's really great to have that primary preventative measure. And we can keep fast forwarding. We can even keep going one more. I'll finish up with my last slide, one more. So these are just some resources for yourself. Center of Disease Control and Prevention, American Heart Association, American Cancer Society, American Diabetes Association, National Institute of Men's Health, and then finally, Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Scott, on behalf of the Montgomery County Legislature, our chairman, I'd like to present you with this proclamation. And the Montgomery County is declaring this as Men's Health Month. And we thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.
And being here tonight. And I'm very familiar with it because of the fact that the radio stations have been carrying an awful lot of information about the things you've been talking about.
Correct.
And especially around Father's Day. So
Yes.
hit Father with all that information on Father's Day so we keep him around for a lot longer. And thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
She's trying to make up. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And the last presentations we have for this evening are, we're going to be honoring the valedictorians and salutatorians of Montgomery County. The first school that we're going to be recognizing would be Amsterdam with legislator Pep. And if there's any administrators from Amsterdam, they're more than welcome to come forward.
As Chairman Hedwell indicated, I'm here to present certificates of achievement to the valedictorian and salutatorian of the Amsterdam High. Unfortunately, the valedictorian, a gentleman by the name of Serge Desbiens, his father just passed away, I think less than about a week ago or so, is that correct?
Yeah,
A couple weeks, and he was a single parent. And so Serge could not be with us here this evening. But we are blessed with the presence of Jeffrey Brennan, the salutatorian. And both of these gentlemen were not only achievers in the world of academia, but they were also great athletes, two-sport players. I believe Serge played football and lacrosse, and Jeffrey plays basketball and baseball and is an all-star in the Foothills Council in both of those sports. And having been an athlete myself, I know it's very difficult to balance schoolwork with practices and those demanding schedules. So it also shows you just how dedicated of a student that Mr. Brennan is here today. So with that, Jeffrey, I want to congratulate you on your achievement. We're all very proud of you. On behalf of the legislature, I'd like to present both you, and you indicated to me ahead of time here that you'd be able to deliver this to Serge as well. But we have certificates of achievement for yourself as salutatorian and Serge as valedictorian, a couple of Montgomery County notepads, and a couple of pencils. Congratulations. We're all very proud of you. And his parents are here tonight too. Why don't you guys come on through for a part of the picture too? This is Scott and Lisa Brennan, Jeffrey's parents. And we all know that as parents, or even if we haven't been parents, that typically achievers like this come from households where they have great support from their parents, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Jeff, congratulations. Oh, Jeff, just a quick question. Where are you heading for college, and what are your plans in the future?
I'm going to Worcester Polytech Institute in the fall. I'm going to study engineering and play baseball there.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Next, we have legislator Diamond and Ken Jahari.
You skipped out.
I guess so.
Abigail, I'm not as eloquent as legislator Pep, but I will say, the achievement speaks for itself. And although you're ending your high school career, it's just the start of great things to come. And I'm sure there's a lot of great things to come your way. And I'm sure you're going to progress into a critical thinker and an academic. And I would like to ask you the same question. Legislator Pep, where are you planning on going to?
I'm gonna go to Wells College and I'm gonna play soccer and major in health science.
All right, well, it's we get a picture. Thanks, Abigail.
Yeah, my dad.
Oh, your dad here? God, he looks familiar. Come on up. You do. Congratulations. Thanks. And I will say, Ken Jahari does have a high achievement record compared to other schools in the district. So this is especially. So we do have a certificate for you, and we have a notepad, and you can take notes when you get to Wells.
Okay.
I'll give you Derek's philosophy. Thank you very much, Abby. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Next, we have Fonda Fultonville, and we have legislator Wilson, and we also have an administrator here tonight from Fonda. Come on up, Mr. Grady.
This is Taylor.
Mr. Wilson, this guy can speak on Taylor if you would want.
Dan Wilson. Okay. He's going to give the
You
presentation.
can talk
I
about
am?
it.
Okay. Well, Taylor is number 2 in our class here at Fonda, but our 1 and 2 are so close that without any question, she's a number 1 for us as well. She is a multifaceted young lady that has come all the way up through the ranks in Fonda, is an incredible academic as well as athlete, is a younger sister to Haley, who also is pretty phenomenal with us in the district. She's going to continue on at Stony Brook. Will probably change the world someday because she has an incredible mind and a drive to persevere pretty much with any challenge that she's going to face. Yeah. Well, it's an honor to have somebody like you in our county, and you honor the whole county. I'd like to give you this certificate.
Thank you.
And a pad.
Thank you.
It's a proud moment.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yep. Awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Bob. Next, we have Legislator Sweet with Fort Plain.
Save the best.
Well, I just want to say, I hit the jackpot because the valedictorian and the salutatorian are both here tonight. Is Miss Larrabee here tonight? No, okay. I have had the pleasure of watching these two grow up through school. I don't know if my wife had you in her class, but I think my wife had you. So I've had the pleasure of watching these two young individuals both grow up, and watching you play some sports and baseball. That was awesome. You guys did a great job this year. But anyway, on behalf of Montgomery County Legislature, we'd like to present you with these certificates of achievement. Bryce, Sherry, and you also get a notebook and a pen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Come on up. Come on. Don't be shy.
Well, this has got to be the easiest part of your job.
Google. Before you guys leave, what are your...
I'm attending Colgate University, going to study biology with a focus in pre-medical.
Excellent.
I'm attending Swarthmore College and I'm going to study mathematics.
Very good. Good.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, I want to get a picture of
Congratulations. Okay. Now, people that we just honored, you will not offend us if you decide that you want to leave at this point and go home. That's why you're put at the beginning of the agenda, so don't feel that you need to stay. We do not have any communications, we do not have any approval of any minutes, so we are down to the acceptance of the budgetary transfers. Have a motion to accept the budgetary transfers from May 2019 and the aggregate budgetary transfers from June of 2019. Legislator Kelly, Legislator Pep, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
I have a motion to accept the 2019 May procurement record. Motion by Legislator Kelly. Second by Legislator Sweet. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Old business. Old business. We have Resolution 135, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget, mandatory salary increase. Legislator Sweet and Wilson with the sponsors. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstained?
S.
Okay. Now we are going to open the floor for public comment, remembering that when you come forward, please state your name for the record, and that your maximum time limit is 5 minutes to speak, and that this is not, it's public comment, it's not a discussion. So you can come forward to the rail, state your name, speak, and then we'll move on. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Earl Spencer, and I have over 65-year relationship with the town of Palatine. I'm talking tonight about the sale of the Pizza Hut to Palatine, the town of Palatine. While not a big fan of the legislative form of government, I do recognize that the legislature has a very important role in acting as an oversight with what goes on in the rest of the county. That is verified in part because the rules relating to the sale of tax delinquent properties include the legislature approving or having the veto power over all transactions. My goal is to continue to work towards a negative outcome on this proposal. I say that because the proposal to sell the Pizza Hut to the town of Palatine violates at least 2 additional county mandated rules relating to the sales of these kinds of properties. Number 1 is that there is no collusion between a bidder and anyone else, including government officials. In this case, we have 2 government officials working out a secret deal. I'm referring to County Treasurer Bowerman and Supervisor McLaughlin, which begs the question of, for a later discussion as to how Treasurer Bowerman gets to pick and choose which properties he gets to pull out of a sale for specific buyers. The second violation is that very specifically a town supervisor cannot bid on a property within his jurisdiction. Need I say more? At this point, all I can ask of the legislature is, please do your job. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you for recognizing me, Legislator Hedwell. I address the legislature, Mr. Asapor. I am Paul Spencer, brother to Earl here, town of Palatine for forever almost. I want to reiterate some of the things my brother just said. I got a few notes here that would relate to that. I'm going to start off with the fact that this is government. Government is a form of services. We are led to believe down in the town of Palatine we are supposed to make money. Government cannot make money. Government performs services. And it's your job, our council's job, Albany's job, the federal government's job to keep those services at a means that the residents within live within their means. In other words, don't get sick services so expensive. The move that has been made to put the Pizza Hut building into our hands, which is a landlocked property, which has been stressed 3 times in your minutes, or your agenda, to have to deal with the overbearing landlord on the north side, a 45-degree bank on the other side, a property only 65 feet wide, that you can't do anything with. Seems a little bit ridiculous in my sight. The other point I want to make in the fact that government is responsible for not making money, but not losing money also. My question is, why does Fonda, you people, want to get rid of tax liability and give it to, or basically give it to us for the price we're talking? Because you will not receive any income from that property ever again. Things change as time goes on. We don't know who's going to own the shopping plaza as this thing. That shopping plaza is now 50 years old. It's amazing it has been torn down, per se, as a lot of shopping centers are of that age. But I want to remind you with the present supervisor that we have had, with some of his spending sprees, our tax income, town tax only, has risen 65%, which I think is horrendous. Will it stop when we have to maintain another building? Is there another option? Would the Mr. McLaughlin also suggests that the second building we would use for a sheriff's substation and a holding area, whatever. Maybe that's something the county should consider, but the county support that rather than a small township the size of Palatine, whose income level is not that great in Palatine. We do not have the industry we used to have, Palatine, Hurricanes, or Herring. So those are the things I kind of want to stress in this little brief talk I have here is, as I said before, the county will never see a tax income if you give it to us. And you've hung an albatross around our neck in expense that will be overbearing in the years to come. Because, again, I will reiterate, the landowner adjacent to the north is a very hard man to do business with. And we are accepting terms from somebody that will always be dictating to us. You put us in a no-win situation. You've actually left the county with a no-win situation. You've taken no revenue, but yet strapped us as a small little town with basically a zero income to support more than we have right now. I thank you very much. I hope you consider.
Thank you. Anyone else?
And I actually, I emailed these over to Cheryl, but I have some handouts. There's a bunch of them. Can I bring them over? Is that all right? There's a copy for everybody. I'm going to go very quickly. I'm Tolga Morawski from the Greater Mohawk Valley Land Bank. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I've been working with County Executive Ossiport, Megan Attorney Mannion, and Sean for the last 7 months as we were charged last year to work on figuring out the tax properties further ahead of time. We started this year in January. I'm here about 2 properties, and I'm going to be very quick. And I realize that there's, maybe not anything we can do, maybe not a lot we can do, but I think that this is important, and I think it should be on the record. The first property I'll mention is the Old Central Hotel in St. Johnsville. There's a report in there for our project manager, John Mazzarella, who you've met. The mayor, who's here with us tonight, asked Matt if the county could do something to support them with that building. It's a white elephant, and they can't afford to do it on their own. We went to do a walkthrough. Matt let me know on the 5th of June that they wanted help with this. So we scheduled a walkthrough within days. The mayor fell through the floor in the building when he went to the walkthrough. Okay? And I apologize, I'm getting a little, this is something that's very, I put in there's a page with some highlighting. This is the Land Bank Act. Land banks in New York State are a public authority, just like the IDA. I am beholden to you. I work for you. I work to help protect the county from liability. We sold the property at the auction for $5,000. It should be torn down. It's a $120,000 demo. It's not something that should be put into somebody's hands to go in there. The roof is ready to collapse. This is something that we could all get sued for. And I know there's a lot, a concern about liability, but I think the liability of doing nothing is very serious also. The other property, Jim Burke's property, the Ching Building in Fort Plain, the village board is against reconveyance. The neighbor, there's a letter in here from the adjacent property owner, Tanya Town. She has 6 apartments in the adjoining building with a shared party wall. I have a structural engineer's report that this building could collapse in a heavy wind. We have the money at the land bank. We are prepared tomorrow to spend $80,000 to stabilize that building. $500,000 commitment from New York State, from Homes and Community Renewal, to renovate the building. It has sat there for 30 years without a penny of investment. It has gone through the tax foreclosure process 8 times. 8 times. He redeems it every time, 2 days, 3 days before the auction. He never does anything. There are pictures in there, that show, weeks before the auction, he had 2 Mexican guys. I stopped, asked them if they had a permit. They're making patching on the building, on a rusty old scaffold. I said, do you guys have insurance? They said, no. We just know Jim because we hunt on his land, we're from downstate, we don't have insurance, we don't have a permit. And I said, you can't do this, this is a danger. The building is condemned, Codes has done everything in the village, we've been after them, we have a vacant property law we put in place to deal with that building. But the village does not have the resources. There's 2 articles in there, former Glory Days building, now just rubble. You may have heard about this from Herkimer. This building collapsed. It's about a third larger than the Ting building in 2013. It collapsed. It cost $475,000 to clean up. The county had to pay for it. 6 years later, today, the county and the village of Herkimer still are fighting in the courts over those costs. So while I recognize there's a concern about legality and safety and getting sued at the county, I put in here Article 78. There's a copy of that. Arbitrary and capricious. I would argue that this is not arbitrary. This is not capricious. We have 6 families that are sitting on a shared wall. This building could come down, and it borders 2 state highways. We have cars driving by. Last year, someone was almost hit with a brick falling off the parapet wall. I just fear that the lawsuit we're going to have to worry about at the county is that for doing nothing, that we reconvey the building, and I applaud Sean. Sean has worked a lot with this. He's worked hard to assess these properties, but I understand when the money comes back, his duty is to take the $17,000. But I think that, the building is owned by the county, has to get reconveyed back to the owner. And I think we should absolutely reject that. This is 8 times we've sold it back to this man. 24 years. Tommy Town's letter, the neighbor, she has not seen any investment. None of us have. And I'm just so scared that something is going to happen. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
I'm Charlie Straney. I'm the mayor of St. Johnsville. I'm the one that went through the floor. You're not going to get sued. It's not the first time I've been through a floor, so don't worry about it. I just want to say, I think my interest is let's try and go slow and work towards the best possible outcome here. That's why we went into the building with codes and with one of our board members. I think maybe a little further study. I also know that we're in a capitalist culture and people bid on things, and the bidder, I've met with him already. He's come to the village. I'm limited as to what I can say to him. I know there's one thing you can't buy in life, and that's enthusiasm. And he's enthusiastic, so great. But let's make sure he's informed. There's a term, it's called pig in a poke. A pig in a poke is when you put a cat in a bag and you sell it as a pig. And what follows from that is when the cat gets out of the bag. So those two, I just want to make sure we have an informed buyer. That's what I would like to see. Maybe he's our guy, I don't know. But it's building's in rough shape. The village recognizes that. This will be the 3rd sale within the last 12 months. The last 2 backed out and didn't come through. My only concern is that the gentleman that's presently bidding has not seen the interior. So maybe we're limited as to what we can share with him, but as I said, I worry about when the cat gets out of the bag. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Thank you for allowing us to speak here at the open public comment period. I'm Mark Abram from Fort Plain. Toga had mentioned about what we call the Ting building. We have written a letter as a board, a village board, pretty much backing the land bank at this particular situation. We did that for a particular reason. The fact that the current owner has done nothing with this building to try to do any type of improvements, not to mention even substantial improvements, any improvements, has just not happened. And we just are really looking for, as a village, to see what can be done to make the building safe to the public. This is a building that's right in the center of our village. It's been there forever, basically. Everybody who has grown up there has always been familiar with the Ting building. We have the Village Cafe that used to be in there. And it is an eyesore, and we are, as a village, kind of at a standstill as far as what we can do. So when the land bank came to us and said, look, we have a plan to take care of this and to see what we can do about shoring it up, making this building safe to begin with, we felt that that was a good start. Whether the county can or cannot do anything as far as at this point, I understand some of the legalities make things difficult, but I am here on behalf of our village to kind of press to this board the importance of really backing someone or some organization or even an individual that's willing to step up to handle some of these properties. The Ting building is just one in our village. We have a lot of vacant properties from, that really either need to be taken down or shored up and sold or whatever, which is what the land bank is doing. So the land bank can be used in a very positive way. So that's why we're willing to back them, especially with this specific property with the Ting building. Because it's just gotten to the point where we just need something done. It really is a hazard to the public, and if the land bank is operating and is willing to do that, it's more of a positive motion than the talk of the current owner, which is, we'll do something, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do something, and nothing ever happens. So that is my push. If there's anything that the county can do on their end to try to help in any way, the ultimate goal, to take care of this building, whether it's to demolish it, whether it's to fix it, to do whatever, we need something done with it instead of nothing, which has been what's going on for close to 30 years, as Toga had mentioned. So that's really my statement here to the board, and asking for help from the county to do whatever they can to help us out. And again, not only with the Ting property, but with other properties as well. And I'll be in touch with Matt on seeing what we can do. So I just appreciate your time. Thank you.
Just a quick, just to add to this, just a really quick 2 minutes. The mayors that I'm flanking by here, certainly St. John's, we've had an ongoing discussion about really utilizing the village codes and the enforcement of those codes to help with these situations. And we've had some discussions about how to go about that, and have offered certainly our county attorney as a resource, as we will do with Fort Plain. We're trying to get the meeting scheduled before tonight's meeting, but I just wanted to let the board know that that effort is ongoing, and we do think we have some options moving forward that we can talk to the mayor with and the land bank, and we're going to continue that discussion.
Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll get to our new business. The resolutions. I need a motion to amend our agenda to add resolutions 179 and 180. Motion by legislator Pep, second by legislator Diamond. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Okay, you can refresh your screens. All set here.
All set?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 158, resolution recommending approval of the amendment to revolving loan for Carolina clubs. Sponsors were Wilson and Sweet. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Pass.
Resolution 159, resolution petitioning the Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture and Markets to correct an error in Montgomery County Agricultural District Number 2. Sponsors were PEP and SWEET. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 160, resolution scheduling a public hearing, review of Agricultural District Number 3. Sponsors were Wilson and Kelly. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 161, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget, emergency repairs. Sponsors were Diamond and PEP. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 162, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget. Transfer of position. Sponsors were Sweet and PEP. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 163, resolution authorizing an increase in tipping fees. Sponsors were Sweet and PEP. Discussion. Legislator Patel.
Chair, my concern with this right now is we have the largest contributor to the transfer station in Amsterdam is the city of Amsterdam. There's a question whether it's 10,000 tons or 20,000 tons that we take in from the city of Amsterdam. As we know, the city of Amsterdam is experiencing extreme financial issues right now, an $8 million deficit. Just a poor situation. I'm not against raising the fee. I'm hoping that we can find some way to accommodate the city of Amsterdam, to give them maybe a little more time or raise it proportionally in quarters. You know, they just passed their budget last month. And, you know, not that this is blindsiding them, but they wouldn't have no way of knowing that we were going to increase that. And, I guess my concerns are that it's extreme for the city of Amsterdam, and if there's a way that we can adjust that either quarterly, raise it in quarters, or give them some time to adjust to it.
Do we have any idea of what the increase would be? John, do you have any idea roughly?
The increase, if it's 10,000 tons, would be $85,000. If it's 20,000 tons, it's $190,000.
That's the increase for that?
I believe it was 80 and 160. Well, it's 850 a ton times 10 tons would be 85,000.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion?
Yes. I kind of agree with legislator Ryan about giving them some kind of a phase into this for the city of Amsterdam instead of hitting them with this liability all at one time. That's my feeling about it. I think under the circumstances in the city right now, they don't need to get slammed with something that they were not prepared for at this point.
Yeah, we're going to be entering budget deliberations soon anyway. I think we should hold off on this until we start to formulate our county budget. So I would make a motion to table.
Is there a second?
A second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to table.
Second.
I'll second.
Legislator Wilson was a second. Any discussion on the amendment?
Yes.
Motion to table? Okay, all, so we roll call.
Legislator Duchessis.
Aye.
Legislator Pep.
Nay.
Legislator Isabel.
Aye.
Legislator Patel.
Aye.
Legislator Kelly. Legislator Sweet.
Nay.
Legislator Diamond.
Nay.
Chairman Headwell.
Nay.
Legislator Wilson. That failed.
Legislator Kelly.
If we don't increase the tipping fee, where does that leave that fund?
We'd be operating
I
at a
speak,
loss.
right now, this increase in tipping fee would put the county at breaking even the rest of the year. We're operating right now at a loss of $8.50 a pound.
So we would be using up what reserves that are in that account and break even.
I'm assuming other municipalities must be in the same situation, bringing.
Yeah, but the tonnage is much less. I think, the legislators that represent, Legislator Patel has indicated it's the volume of tonnage that's really going to spike up that number. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an increased cost, there's no doubt about it. But again, it's not as if we are padding the county coffers in $850 after our analysis, the $850. Well, first of all, as you saw in the report, we're well below what the market rate is. And this was the suggestion from the solid waste consultant that we brought on to bring it up. To this point, Sean ran the numbers and did the analysis and ascertained that this is our break-even point at whatever the total number is, the 850 addition. So this would put us operating at a break-even.
We would lose $300,000 if we did not. Isn't that correct, Sean?
Correct.
If we did nothing about this, yes, perhaps it could be implemented at some point in time later in the year, but by virtue of implementing it at the halfway point, it will allow us to eliminate a potential $300,000 operating loss on our waste disposal within our own budget, which should take priority over any other budget.
Well, the thing I would point out is that, the city is getting a deal as it is, and their transportation costs could never be any less than coming to our landfill. And as it's pointed out, we have one of the cheapest rates around, so that's why I was opposed to the amendment.
Anybody else?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm not quite sure right now at this juncture what those market rates are and how close we're coming to that. But certainly there comes a time when the city could weigh its options and send its waste elsewhere. We all remember following MOSA and some of the decisions made there that no one is obligated to bring their trash to the county. So in the event that it pushed too hard there, that you could end up losing that revenue.
That's fine.
I would ask Sean, really, we're tied, the volume doesn't dictate, it's more so our costs, all our costs are per ton.
Correct.
So if it went down to 20,000 tons, our revenues would be down, but our expenses would be down as well.
Correct.
It would affect our contract more.
Yes. Yeah, and the disposal cost is much less, but it's the transportation costs that are killing us.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Legislator Sweet.
Aye.
Legislator Diamond.
Aye.
Chairman Headwell.
Aye.
Legislator Wilson.
Aye.
Legislator Duchessis.
No.
Legislator Peck.
Aye.
Legislator Isabel.
No.
Legislator Patel.
No.
Legislator Kelly.
Aye.
Pass.
Okay, resolution 164, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget, Montgomery County Local Government Records Management Grant. Sponsors were Pep and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 165, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement with New York State Defenders Association and amend the 2019 operating budget. Sponsors were Sweet and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 166, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget, accepting an additional Stop DWI Crackdown Enforcement Award. Sponsors were Pep and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 167, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget. Department of Youth and Veterans. Sponsors were Wilson and Diamond. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 168, resolution setting the date of the public hearing on FMCC's proposed 2019-2020 budget. Sponsors were Pep and Diamond. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 169, resolution amending Resolution 148 of 2019. Sponsors were Pep and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 170, resolution authorizing the county executive to enter an agreement with Napoleon, Brian?
It's your turn.
Shulnik, and to commence litigations, pharmaceuticals. Sponsors were Diamond and Pep. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 171, resolution authorizing the county executive to enter an agreement with Napoleon Shulnik and commence litigations and 911 surcharges. Sponsors were Sweet and Wilson. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, Napoli Shkolnik.
Okay, thank you, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 172. Resolution authorizing the settlement on litigation commenced by Fulton County against Montgomery County related to the parties of intermunicipal agreement for waste disposal services dated March 6, 2014. Sponsors were Pertel and Dutesi. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 173, resolution establish a petty cash account. Sponsors were Wilson and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 174, resolution approving the abstract of audited claims. Sponsors are Isabel and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 175, resolution authorizing the sale of real property acquired by tax foreclosure, Town of Palatine. Sponsors were Kelly and Pertel. Discussion.
This is the property that, the pizza.
This is the Pizza Hut property. Any other discussion?
Thank you, Chair. You know, as you know, I'm opposed to this. I'm not going to rehash everything that we talked about in committee. What I will say is a lot of you in this room haven't gone through what I've gone through with properties in my district. And we could start with the West Hill School. You can start with the Beech Nut property. You can start with the Wagner House, which we lost. You can start with the Stone Lodge, which the Blaine Bank, we were fortunate to have them take that over, and also the West Hill School. So this is something that you have a solution here, but it's not the best solution. And I know it's easy to say, yeah, let's just get rid of it, but I'm here to put the hard work in. I'm trying to make my district as good as it can be. I did ask last committee meeting that we postpone this till November to see the outcome of the election, to see if this property is gonna be developed or not. Upon reading the paper today, I think we'll have a decision tonight if it's gonna be developed or not, because of the primary. So, I'm not asking you to vote no, I'm not asking you to wait till November, I'm saying if you can just wait till next month, we're gonna know if this is gonna be developed or if it isn't. I don't come into your district and leave a mess, and I would expect a little courtesy, don't come in mine and leave a mess. Thank you, Chair.
I propose a motion to table this for 1 month.
A second.
Who's second?
Second.
Roll call.
Computer is gross. Legislator Isabel.
Aye.
Legislator Patel.
No.
Legislator Kelly.
No.
Legislator Sweet.
No, I mean, I just wish we would have more discussion before we table the resolution, but no.
Legislator Diamond.
Aye.
Chairman Headwell.
Aye.
Legislator Wilson.
Aye.
Legislator Duchessis.
Aye.
Legislator Peck.
Aye.
Pass to table the resolution.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Resolution 176, resolution accepting the bids for the 2019 real property tax foreclosure auction. Sponsors were Patel and Wilson. At this time, I would like to amend the resolution and have parcel, as a sheet that you have in your resolution, 107, which is 12 East Main Street, removed from the list.
Second.
Second, legislator Peck. Discussion.
What was the parcel number?
It's 107 on the list. It's 8.52-3-6. Legislator Patel.
I'm sure this has to do with the property that the mayor from St. Johnsville talked about, but could you just expound on your feelings why you'd like it removed?
We have two individuals come before us to ask that it be removed so that they could do something with it in their district. I can see from the list that there was a gentleman from Albany that was looking to purchase this. And again, I've had some difficulties in the past with properties in the village of Fultonville when I was the mayor, the same type thing. And I think that we should be listening to the people from that area, those areas, when they have concerns about pieces of property.
So along with that, do we have, is there something that we can do to put a time frame on this?
All I'm asking for right now, Legislator Patel, is to remove it from the list. Next month in committee, we can talk about what we plan on doing with it.
I'm fine with that.
We will make sure the bidder knows. Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
There's something wrong here then when we allow these properties to go to auction and they'd be bid on if we're not interested in selling them, if we're not reviewing these properties for disposal. So we're creating a lot of problems for ourselves. Perhaps we should in committee review these things before they go further. At least going forward. I'm not familiar with this piece of property.
I want to say I do agree with you, but I think in the past, I think we're getting better at what we're doing. I mean, with the land bank, and I think it's been, their work with the land bank and different things with some of these potential properties. Again, the last thing I want to do is see a piece of property come back before us year after year after year, and I'm sure that the villages and the towns are in the same boat that we are. So trying to find answers. So.
Mr. Chairman, I would agree with that we don't want to see the properties come back year and year again, but that doesn't really address my point about putting those types of properties on the auction list to begin with.
Yeah. I do agree. We have to do a better job of making sure that they don't. Leslie Purdell?
We did have a pseudo committee where we sat down. I was on the group that sat down with the county attorney, the county executive. We did discuss with the land bank about properties that they felt would fit into their program. So for the past 2 or 3 years, I believe that's what we did. But what we didn't, I think what was missing with that conversation was the conversation with the local municipalities. For example, the mayor of St. Johnsville and the mayor of Fort Plain. I mean, we can always do better than what we're doing, but there was an attempt previously to do just what you're talking about.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just add one more thing, that part of that equation should be whether there are outstanding code enforcement issues with the property. And I think that's where we fall short. That's why the properties that are being questioned all evening are coming to the fore, because they have issues. And a lot of times people will come in and buy those properties, and they don't quite see the same thing as perhaps a code enforcement officer or anybody else is seeing it. They have dreams of rehabilitation and income properties, etc. I've seen this time and time again in another role I've played in public life. So I think going forward, we're going to have to make an effort to do some property review before we allow properties to go to auction.
Are we talking about the hotel properties with the Sands?
That's correct, that's the old central hotel in St. Johnsville.
When we foreclose on these, shouldn't the legislator have a list of those at that point? I mean, it's county property and it's our duty to be the gatekeeper of county property and the budget. Isn't that our role as legislators?
So where we were 3 years ago and where we are now is about 2 light years ahead.
Right.
Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Do we send DPW out to inspect each and every property to the best they can from the outside? Yes. Do we do a review with the county attorney, Sean, and any legislators that are willing to come? Yes. Can the process be improved? Yes. This is one that we talked with the mayor. I went and visited with the mayor, Megan and I did, talking about code enforcement and different things, and similar conversation the mayor and I are having right now. Could it be better? Absolutely. This was one that during the process, we had a conversation later with the mayor. Then we found out that the land bank was willing. So that's kind of how it happened late. I apologize for missing it sooner in the process, but we are heading in the right direction.
It just seems that this auction was earlier than the one before. The one before was in August, the last one that we did.
Well,
last year's.
Another thing that came up, and correct me if I'm wrong, Megan, is partnering with the city and their foreclosure properties to get a bigger draw and having them back to back. And I think you did see some positives in what the total take was, so to speak. So I'm not sure that's exactly the reason why it was that big. Maybe it was, but I know that was, there was some strategy in some previous meetings about how we could do better from the previous year. And the suggestion was to back the county and the city auctions.
When are we going to make that decision for the next tax foreclosure? Because that's going to up the starting point of the next foreclosure process. I think there wasn't enough time in the process from when we had the foreclosure last year in August. We started in January, it was said, the foreclosure process. We did it in June.
I think relatively speaking, minor, minus a couple of specific situations, one that's been going on 30 years and this one which is sort of a unique entity in itself, this property. I think on the whole, it's been a great process. Are there some things that we certainly can improve? Absolutely, but I don't think timing was an issue. Megan, correct me if I'm wrong.
historically, the county's always had their auction in May, so this is actually still a little later than what we usually do. Last year was especially late because of trying to address some of the property issues and making sure that we were having the discussions that we needed to make sure we had the land bank on board. We, as I believe you all recall, we had a discussion with the land bank last year. We moved that process up and moved those discussions earlier. We were able to get the discussion back on track. When every year we have a meeting with the treasurer, the land bank, and I did make an announcement that any legislator who wanted to attend was welcome. So as always, you know, we would love as much involvement from the legislature as we can get on this.
And I know, you know, the last time we had the same thing is when we went, I personally went to the land bank about a piece of property in the village of Fultonville because it was one that they missed. You know, again, there's a lot of pieces of property, you see something in your area, and again, we pulled that one the same way because it was beneficial for the community for that to happen. What is it, Daniel?
Well, I agree with a lot of the points my fellow legislators made, but I think the first and foremost, and I would be uncomfortable without having the auction process first. And what we do after the auction process, you know, that would be up to the people in charge of that. But I think in order for us to do something with a property, it needs to go through that process. Thank you.
Token?
I just wanted to offer on the hotel property, we actually talked to Matt, he brought it up with us last year, because I think it had been on the process last year, and we were willing to discuss it, but the problem was is the cost to demo the building was going to be $125,000. It's a pretty significant demo. So we chose at that time to wait. We essentially told the village and we told the county at that point that it was too much of a cost for us to bear alone. Well, we've been in discussions with Matt and Carl and Eric about reconstituting the demolition team. And one thing that I'll happily discuss next month's committee meeting, but we would really like to put some of the demo money, I would put the $125,000 into the demo team and getting that going again. We have a very successful relationship with the Herkimer Oneida Solid Waste Authority, which has a demo team. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to dump $125,000 into a private demo if we can develop those skills and invest in our staff, invest in our equipment, and be able to have this in-house. On 11 Ann Street in Fultonville, we had looked at that property, but the problem, and you had let us know, that the resident was no longer there. The resident was a village employee, and we avoided the property specifically because we didn't want there to be a conflict situation. So we had seen it, but we had held off.
And Joe?
So we have a piece of property that went to auction, was awarded to this gentleman, right?
No.
Not awarded, it's sitting there, okay?
Yes.
The gentleman's called, put down his deposit or whatever, or did he do that yet or not?
I'm not, Sean, how does the process go? Did they put a deposit down?
They put their deposit down, and before they can close on the property, it has to be, all bids have to be approved by the legislature.
So why don't we go ahead, I like Roy's idea of this, of just letting this go through the process. And at that point, if we don't want to approve the bid,
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at right now.
no, but he hasn't come up with his money, it's in the general.
No, we have to.
He could conceivably not put up his money right now, and not do it,
He
right?
hasn't put up his money, he hasn't put up the balance of his money to close.
That's what I'm trying to
And
say.
you can't do that without us approving all of these
Okay, they
transactions.
can't do that.
And I would say it's very clear for all the bidders that the county has the right to refuse any bid for any reason.
Legislator Patel.
I would just say that, you know, we're going off on a tangent on the discussion of how the process should work, and I would like to add that on the Physical Services Committee next time we meet, so we can have a discussion, so we're all on board about how we think we can make the process better.
Okay. Any other discussion on the amendment?
One more.
Good.
You know, I'm willing to support your initiative not to sell this property at this time, based on what you know. That's not the issue that I was trying to uncover here. What I'm trying to do is get us to the point where we don't have to make these decisions at junctures such as this.
I understand 100%, and we will move forward to take care of that. Oh,
Mr. Chair, when I was an alderman back several years ago, like ancient history, we formed the property disposition committee, which looked into all that stuff before it came up to the then common council and board, and maybe we have enough committees and enough people running around, I think we should maybe do something like that for the future.
thank you. Yeah, all in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Now the resolution as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Resolution 177, resolution in opposition to state legislation proposal that could undermine the careful balance that exists in state law related to the tax foreclosure process in the New York State as proposed. Sponsors were Sweet and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Resolution 178, resolution adopting policy and practice guidelines for the county executive to determine expenditures, limits, and priorities for the 2020 operating budget. Sponsors were Diamond and Kelly. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Resolutions. Yeah, but I filed them somewhere. Resolution 179, resolution approving the sale of surplus equipment. Need a sponsor?
Sponsor.
Sponsor Diamond,
Second.
legislator Wilson. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Resolution 180, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a lease agreement with Mercedes-Benz Financial Services for transfer station equipment post-closure. Need a sponsor? Sponsor legislator Pep, second.
Second.
Legislator Diamond. Discussion? Legislator Patel.
So I guess my question would be, just for clarification, is that this is for a new horse to pull the tanker or leachate from the landfills to the sewage treatment plants, and that our responsibility is 42% of that because of the post-closure agreement?
That's correct.
Thank you.
All the expenses of this post-closure fund are divided by the percentages of 42, 40, and 18.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Okay, under new business, other. Seeing none, have a motion to adjourn. Motion by legislator Diamond, second by legislator Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.